Wir kommen bereits zum letzten Vortrag des heutigen Vormittages, sicher ein Höhepunkt. Wir dürfen uns jetzt auf Yana Ross freuen, die, so wie ich gehört habe, gestern direkt aus Paris eingetroffen ist. Yana Ross ist international bekannte Regisseurin und sie nutzt PRISM als kreatives Werkzeug zur Entwicklung von Schauspielcharakteren. Durch die Visualisierung von Emotionen und Beziehungen zwischen Figuren und deren Themen kann PRISM Schauspieler und Schauspielerinnen dabei unterstützen, sich noch intensiver mit ihren Rollen zu verbinden und Ressourcen für ihre Darstellung zu aktivieren. Wir sind sehr, sehr gespannt auf die Ausführungen von Yana Ross. Sie war bis vor kurzem in Zürich am Schauspielhaus tätig und außerdem in Berlin, Stockholm und Wien. Herzlich willkommen, Yana Ross.
Very tired actress Constanze Becker in Berlin after rehearsal with PRISM in her hand. Before I explain in more detail the pictures, maybe I start quickly with a very brief history of psychological theater, and I think from my perspective as a theater practitioner, how psychology and actors and theater come together. And I would say, in general, it's a very strange profession. I myself, as a director, so I work with actors, and my research, of course, comes from behavioral psychology. So what we're trying to do is we imitate you when we go on stage. We try to convince you that this is what is happening in our lives. And somehow it is, on one side, it is a tool to broaden our experiences as human beings. And also it helps us understand our condition. And still it doesn't make profession of actors any clearer. Every day I go into the rehearsal room, it gets more and more complicated. And hence, it was a gift to meet Stefan Wilke here in Switzerland and to encounter this amazing tool. And it took me a while, it took me maybe 2 years before I thought of this idea to use it in rehearsal room. So, to go back to brief history of psychology in the theater, I would say that our grandfather is Konstantin Stanislavski, an actor himself, who I think the reason his teachings became so popular that he was not lazy to systematize his research. So he was observing how human nature is used in the theater, and he created a set of very practical tools for the actors to use in creating a character. And basically, he had a long life, and in the beginning of his career, he was using this kind of way of accessing your personal experiences and emotions and memories in order to activate that source on stage. And it's quite a ambivalent and I would say maybe dangerous state of being as you go into your own personal experiences. Sometimes it's not so easy to come out of this when performance is over. And at the end of his career, he managed to kind of distance this experience and personal experience and create a very practical set of tools how to develop a conversation between yourself and the character that you're creating. So kind of building bridges, which of course to us seems much more controlled and healthier. And then it's again a paradox how these things develop. By chance, when he was touring with his big company in New York in 1920s of the 20th century, they got the tour got prolonged, and they played in New York for almost 2 years on Broadway. And so this very open and curious American audience and developing American theater in a young country kind of absorbed this deep psychological acting method that Stanislavski and his company were presenting. And because they were clever people, not many of them wanted to return to the Soviet Union. Many of them stayed in the United States and started private acting schools. And so this Adler School and Acting Studio, and we know all about Robert De Niro and this amazing American actors, they come from this hybrid, or this kind of part of Stanislavski teachings that Americans call a method acting, which also kind of mutated from this deep personal emergence into another, let's say, into a thinking for another human being, kind of merging yourself with the character. And so, to go back to our wonderful tool, our PRISM, as a practitioner, I brought it into rehearsal room to push this kind of away from Stanislavski, not to use just the experience, the personal experience of the actor, which often, of course, and always feeds the work, but to give a space to think as a fictional character. And this is where I found PRISM incredibly satisfying. And it's still very early research. I have done 2 performances like this. One based on a classical Chekhov play, Ivanov, in Berlin, and another recently a contemporary German play, Abgrund, in Sweden. And so the idea is, because the actor has to start thinking as another human being, but they cannot separate their own physicality and the memory completely. This comes as an invitation. Often, I think it's not so good to do in the beginning, but after 2 or 3 weeks of working together, basically doing research, thinking about biography of these people, building relationships that are happening between people in this fictional universe of the play. I propose the actors, once they know each other in the room, once they know what relationship they have with their daughters, their fathers, their loved ones, to go into PRISM in the character. So in a way, it feels like a safe game, and they really have to think from the perspective of this fictional person. And so here you see Constanze Becker, who in Ivanov is playing one of the key characters. She has terminal cancer. As a character, she's dying. And in this picture, the red this is where, as a character, she puts it very, very far away from herself. And that was very also interesting conversation with Stefan, where we thought how far you can get disconnected, or how much you don't want to face or ignore, deny the issue in your life. Also interesting, I think, what's happening here with color, where the yellow Scheiber is her parents, and she chooses a similar color to self, and these, she has no relationship with her parents. The relationship in the play is broken. They have not spoken, they have not seen each other in a long time. I think what was happening with Chekhov the actors essentially were able to kind of subconsciously pull out the issues that were happening in these fictional relationships. They really took them as their own personal issues, or as personalities, as these characters. And what I found promising is that because it's such a complex psychological and often psychosomatic kind of movement of energy in the performance, that it's quite healthy to have a three-dimensional fictional persona as opposed to really going deep into your own personal experiences and traumas. So I'm hoping this creates a space for the actor to kind of use yourself sparingly, but also thinking very creatively in creating a character. But also what was, maybe I show some more pictures. Did I go forward or backward? In this one, okay. This forward, this is the one. You can tell, never seen PowerPoint or Excel in my entire life, so bear with me. Maybe let's get to the pictures. These are also, this is Peter Malton and Emily Wilbeck. Very, as you can see, very intense love story in the performance. Older man and younger woman, and also I find uncanny how close sometimes personal stories of the actors in their lives are starting to kind of signal and connect to the play. And this I have no answer. For that we need Stefan, I think. But for example, Peter is playing a suicidal character. It's a person, 100 years ago when the psychoanalysis started, we were only getting a glimpse of what this can be when Chekhov wrote the play, but now when we read it, we say, okay, this is clinical depression. It's clear. This person has lost the lust for life, he's not writing anymore, he's not interested in anything, and he's thinking of killing himself. In personal life, this actor has lost his brother to suicide. Constanze Becker, who plays a terminally ill patient, in her life lost her mother to cancer a year before we started work. Another actor who plays, let's see, the Paul Garrick, wonderful actor, who plays alcoholic father in this performance, had a raging alcoholic mother all his life. And so this is so, sometimes so uncanny and close, and this is something, me as a director, I could never know before I go into the room. You know, we all professionals, we see each other in performances, we make the cast, and then we go into psychology of characters, and of course life sometimes becomes stronger as performance. So this knowledge, and what do I do with this very personal experiences and traumas, and how to create room that can be creative and productive and not hurt them again, not to so I think PRISM is wonderful in this chance of putting some safe distance between yourself and the character. And for example, here, this is a very interesting dynamic. You see the purple circle. This is his daughter. This is the young woman we saw in the picture before. And the actor, subconsciously, this is where he places her. And then when I asked him to explain, he says, "My daughter is very, very independent. I give her all the space in the world. You can see that. So this is also interesting that he's not thinking as an actor, he's really thinking as a character. And the character is oblivious to this suffocating relationship that he has with his child. This is, I think I'm skipping to the Swedish production. I will show you some pictures and then I will go back. So this is a premiere I had 10 days ago in Sweden. And I used PRISM in this rehearsal also. But this is a new situation where I decided to double the action in the play. So it's a contemporary play about our middle-class neurosis and privileges and child rearing. It's wonderful. The audience really reacts well. It speaks to them. But there is a big there is a tragedy in the middle that a young, a 5-year-old child maybe throws her baby sister out of the window. So that's a cliffhanger that happens in the middle of the play. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. So I decided to play 2 scenarios at the same time. So one room is playing, they each kind of switch and play scenes, and always parallel, one room is doing something, mirroring the other. Sometimes in a bit slow motion, sometimes they are together, but you always have kind of an option of good scenario, bad scenario. And in rehearsals, I used the PRISM because I had 2 mothers and 2 fathers, let's say, and 2 sets of friends. So this was the test of how actors are thinking, like, are we creating a character or are they still working from their own experiences? And this is where I was very relieved to see that, let's say, go back. So these are, I think those are the 2 mothers. And you can see here the orange is the baby, the small baby. And here the purple is the small baby. So both mothers are overwhelmed with a newborn. And both mothers put some distance to the older child, to a 5-year-old. And both mothers immediately identified that they have bad sexual relationships. So some choices were almost identical. So 2 people were thinking alike about this one person they represent on stage. And the father characters was a big discovery, had the opposite relationship to children. So the fathers put the baby at a distance and had the 5-year-old much closer to them. So this is also something you just cannot know or perceive unless you give this an exercise or give this space. So in short, I think it is a phenomenal tool with potential for creativity, also opening up creativity in this very complex psychological and physiological responsibility that the actor have. And this kind of fine line between personal experience and personal trauma, and how to convert and use it in a positive way as opposed to being self-destructive as it does sometimes happen. So this is also these 2 rooms, and sometimes this is the real baby there in the crib, and the older child is sleeping. So sometimes the mothers would go outside and then we see the action on the screen. But I think it did help, or it confirmed my intuition that this is about creating a character and not doing kind of self-therapy on the actor, because that's not my responsibility. But I think we all should book time with you, Stefan, for sure. was one with videos. I have like 1 minute each from performance, so I think it would be nice to show you three-dimensional how these people looked. Okay, so this is the Abgrund. Maybe we can open for some questions while we set it up. Yeah, you want to? Yes, yes.
One story.
Yes, but please.
At the first author, you had this article, the lady.
No, stay. It's 1 minute.
No, it's just one. I thought it was so. You remember?
Yes.
You sent me by email just pictures of the PRISM.
Yes.
And you said she should play something like that.
Yes.
And you said I think 10 actors, and after 10 minutes I sent you back 2 are not in the row.
Yes.
I haven't understood.
Yes, exactly.
And the first, this actor, she was a very sick 35-year-old lady somehow, and she had cancer and will die soon. And she, as you have seen, she put cancer like this, and I said that's not possible. And then you said she has a problem.
Yes.
And you told me her mother was very close, and you had to decide if you push her into this, which wasn't possible, I think, or if you accept that she is not able to play the real person.
Yes.
So that I think that was very.
Yes. And there was also a young actor who was playing an addict, who I think who was really struggling with finding the character. And Stefan immediately, this is also incredible how a professional can see where things are not adding up, and for this young actor it was a real struggle to create the character. And I think part of this, that sometimes, because he was an addict in his real life, as I found out later, sometimes that is just too close and you cannot play yourself, then you have nothing, right? So yeah, but it was such a thrill to have Stefan reply quickly and so precisely, and seeing where things were working and not. It's all right. Maybe we can.
The sound is coming.
The picture is on. It's all right. We keep it a mystery. You saw the pictures. Thank you very much.
So to get the gist, so PRISM helped you to unmove something you would not have, let's say, in less time, this idea of what are the personalities of the actors and what are the roles. On the other hand, so bringing actors as the director, in the responsibility of the director, in this situation that they get, let's say, a confrontation with something they would not have to expect. So what is your role? How do you cope with it to, let's say, open something from them they are not prepared for, and when you start to make it part of Stanislavski, or the other way, okay, so we stop it now, or we find a circumvent to somehow do it on stage, but actually we are not talking about what's really going on here. So actually I see a totally different way for you as a director, let's say, to balance between, okay, what is the reality, what is happening in real, and what is left for, let's say, for the purpose of doing a good stage performance, and where to split it in between. You got this?
Yeah, I think it is a delicate balance for sure, and I think my job comes. I think some of this we find also with Stefan there's some uncanny similarities with what I do in rehearsal room. I'm not a therapist, but I use listening tools, let's say. I am there to open up the actors to creativity without letting them keep things to slide into therapy, to solve their own personal issues. This is the fine line. So I have to kind of activate the listening and creativity, but I have to always scale back if it crosses the line. So it's about listening also.
Did it work out?
Yes, it worked out. We managed also in Ivanov performance. I think it was surprised the audience when we work in this way is always surprised that it's happened. They think it's happening now. That it's a lot of it is improvised, even though it's very controlled and rehearsed. So that's why I'm proud that we keep this behind the scenes. That you see only what you're supposed to see. Yeah. Okay, we can show this one. All right, perfect.
Achtung, wir sind live.
Wir sind jetzt live. Wir sind hier und wir feiern eine Party. Wir freuen uns alle sehr darüber.
Warum? Warum? Ich verstehe mich nicht.
Tag und Nacht quält mich mein Gewissen und ich weiß, dass ich schuldig bin, tief schuld. Ich weiß nicht, was genau meine Schuld ist.
Ich laufe davon wie der letzte Feindliche.
Du musst jetzt gehen.
Sobald mein Selbstbild verletzt wird, vergesse ich mich, werde unhöflich, wütend. Ich weiß es nicht, wer ich bin, warum lebe ich, was will ich.